Before we get into the new album, which I love and I've profiled already on the show, which is rare because I usually wait to talk to the artist, but I really enjoyed it so much I had to get it on. Um, I want to know, we're all getting tired of talking about COVID and all of the things that happened. And I know it really hit Brooklyn and New York in a very specific way, but how as an artist did you survive the pandemic? And how has it either influenced this new album or the way that you do things now?
It's a great question. So yeah, as lots of listeners might know, everything closed down here, at least for several months, if not over a year. So it was some time to introspect, for me to compose more, um, to some degree practice more, but to some degree it also sometimes felt meaningless to practice if you can't really showcase it to other people. I would sit for hours on the piano and write more music than ever before. I think that's one of the ways in which I was dealing with it. Some of these tunes are in the new album, Play Space. Some of them were actually released before, some will be released later. But yeah, that's one of the things that I think I found myself doing more. And then I guess getting closer to 2021, there were more shows starting to pop up in actually new places. It feels like the scene has changed quite a bit. And from then on, I found myself playing more and more. So um, in between, there were several months that felt quite different. And I think that lots of other musicians feel the same way.
So let's get into the new album, which I've said up front. I love Play Space. Talk to me a little bit about putting this together. I mean, even the album art's playful and fun and pops out with color. So talk to me about the artistic vision for this project.
So first of all, the artist who did this amazing artwork is a good friend all the way from high school, actually. His name is Yuval Hacker. He's a pretty big shot animator, and I was very lucky to be able to book him down for that, and it was a great fun to work with him. Um, and the album has pieces that the earliest ones I think I probably composed 12 years ago. The newest ones were composed maybe a couple of months before we went to record, and I just said, oh, why not just throw this one in as well. um so it wasn't meant to be an album, but this selection of tunes felt like made sense together. And after um performing with this band for really several years, um it felt like these particular tunes kind of made sense together and created some sort of a story that I think kind of organically unfolds throughout uh, the album. So this was the vision. Part of it was intended, part of it was just turned up to be what it was, and it was really fun process to put it all together.
So what are you ultimately hoping the listener gets from this album?
Ooh, that's a good one. I think a new sound. I think there's some fusion of different styles and different sort of um, sonic kind of like feelings that come out, that tends to really vary between different tunes. So if I can make the listener really want to hear more, and to continue to be surprised by it, that would be a great success for me.
So take me back to how all this began for you, the music journey, the jazz journey. Take me back to the beginnings and how did you evolve into where you are today?
I started playing music when I was like 5. Even before I started learning piano, I would kind of like I learned in kindergarten to read notes and to drum them. So I was always really kind of drawn to music. Um, I remember when I was probably 7, 8, I saw another kid playing the saxophone, and right away this was like love at first sight, and I knew that I want this instrument too. So that's when my journey with the saxophone started. And I started playing jazz more as a teenager, went to some kind of sort of a specialized art high school. Um, and from there, I think there was some sort of a like paved path for musicians to kind of continue studying music in New York, particularly the new school when I studied, and this was like a pretty safe cushion in landing in America um, and having a big kind of and very rich community here. This was uh, my path into kind of finding myself in the New York scene.
So, what was the first live jazz show you saw that blew you away?
Let me think. I mean, at first they all did, but I think that one of um, the earlier experiences that really stayed with me was at uh, the Red Sea Jazz Festival in
Yeah.
Eilat. I think there was a jam session with Christian McBride that was really incredible. I've never heard anything more groovy, maybe ever since. And that was amazing. And that was after hearing Chris Potter live for the first time the same day. I think this was a period of time of what felt like a renaissance to me, that I was exposed to something that didn't know existed, and I just wanted to absorb more and more of it.
So, what is it that you love the best about being a professional musician? What gets you up every day? What gives you that charge to create and to do what you do?
Um, I think there are a few things in the process that really kind of like fuels the rest of it. Part of it starts in the composition process for me, in in finding some sort of a sound that I want to create more and to explore more and perhaps to make an entire piece or a few pieces out of, and finding this kind of core seed that kind of captures my curiosity, either through my own composition or through kind of like learning other pieces of other people. Um, and other pieces of it have to do with, practicing alone and kind of coming up with new ideas on the flow, which is some sort of like the same concept, but in improvisation, so it happens faster. But then maybe slowing it down and again and understanding, okay, how can I play with these ideas? How can I extract more out of this? How can I make it more interesting? But it all really funnels down to the moment where you sit with the band and you play these materials and something all of a sudden comes alive and clicks, and these are the moments that I think really make me want to do more of what I do and to continue to create music that's unique and that kind of also resonates with my bandmates that are incredible, um and and I can see them kind of like thriving over new materials that perhaps are different from the previous ones we played. So these really moments are kind of sparking lots of excitement and hopefully for everyone and making me want to do more of what they do.
So, why do you love jazz?
I think there's something very spontaneous and honest about jazz when it's done in a way that really resonates with me. There's something about it that speaks like to some human language that's not verbal, but nevertheless that people are sharing and understanding together. Um, there's lots of forgivingness, there's no mistakes, but everything can be appreciated and absorbed into something interesting. That's like, there's this kind of quote that there are no mistakes in jazz. Everything that matters is what happens next. And this idea is one that I really like because every sort of personality, every sort of sound, every sort of an idea can have a place on its own as long as other people are deciding to respect it and and, and respond to it. Um, so I think this is something that from day one was always, I found really fascinating, that there's so much self-exploration, but there is also something really unique that happens every time we play with other people, and it's always different. Um, and even when it's bad, you learn from it something.
Absolutely. So if you could get into a magic jazz time machine and go back in time and see one live show with anyone anywhere, where would you go?
Wow. Um, Maybe the second Miles Quintet.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I feel like somewhere over there in the early 60s.
I'd love to join you on that one. So
Yeah.
at the end of the day, everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, fans, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Um, it's a really good question. How do I see myself? I think I'm trying to see myself as someone who's creative, and in kind of being creative, you just connect to one part of you that kind of creates things, has some connection to my own associations, whether it's through music, whether it's in cooking, whether it's through talking with people, or doing a bunch of other things. I think that there is some flow of ideas, and being able to recognize and work with them in real time. Um, so uh, yeah, in that way, I'm trying to to be, some sort of a sponge that kind of absorbs lots of things from the world around, that stays connected to what's surrounding him, what's surrounding me, and yet generate something new out of all these things that come in, and generate something that hopefully feels authentic and connected to, both to my environment, but also to how I feel and how I function in the world. And music has been for a long time an aspect in which I've learned to express something of myself that I wasn't able to really express, in any other way.
So Play Space is the wonderful brand new album. If anyone wants to pick up a copy, catch you live, anything else that you've been involved with, any of the good business, where do they go?
Yeah, so we've been put lots of effort into spreading this album out and making sure that lots of people stream it and hopefully buy it and come to our shows with really helpful, 2, 3 wonderful release shows here in New York, with a few things, um, cooking that's gonna happen in the late winter, early spring. So this is definitely some more shows, some more music, coming out soon. And yeah, I definitely encourage everyone to open Apple Music or Spotify and listen to the full album. I think that there are some hits earlier on that kind of like people are enjoying to, clinch onto, and there are some maybe hidden gems later on for those of you who want to stick out for the entire journey.
Absolutely. I totally encourage everyone to get out and get it. This has been wonderful. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your story.
Thank
Thank you for
you.
your time.
Thank you,
I
Joe.
appreciate it.